Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the Political Brown Kid here, and welcome back to another Hollywood in Black and White. I haven't done one of these in a long time, but it's been nothing really new out. Of course, everybody knows there's been the SAG strikes, which is the Screen Actors Guild strike. There's been the strike by the screenwriters. And plus, but even though new content was still getting released, I just really haven't found anything really worth reviewing. But until now. So I just finished watching on Netflix. It's a Netflix original, I do believe. It is a movie called Rustin, and it is a biographical story actually, and it is on the individual who actually coordinated and or um, thought up, you could say, conceptualized and realized. He took it from conception to reality. The March on Washington, which of course everybody know the keynote speaker of that, or the focal point of that, was Martin Luther King Jr. So Bayard Rustin was actually the person who orchestrated that. And the Netflix released, actually through, I think it's through Michelle and Barack Obama's production company. It was released on Netflix. And of course, I just kind of gave you something that I was going to touch on. So it's executive produced by Michelle and Barack Obama. And the thing about Bayard Rustin, I'm not going to give this whole movie, I'm not going to give the movie away. Not all of it, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. So if you don't want to hear, it's going to be very high level, then I'm keeping this. But if you don't want to hear it, then you may want to turn away if you don't even want to hear the high level, but I'm not going to get into granular details. Basically, the movie is just about the orchestration of the March on Washington, and what Bayard. It's kind of like just touching on his role in that. If people don't know, which I didn't even know because I didn't know this individual until I watched it, it is about Bayard Rustin is he's a gay black male. And I guess, of course, definitely during that time, that was kind of controversial. So it just kind of shows the struggle that he went through during that period, just as far as, being able to participate in his role in that. So it kind of touches on that a little bit. Well, somewhat they touch on that, mostly. I mean, his orientation, because it definitely played a part in his being able to participate, but it was also about just the orchestration of the March on Washington. So I'm just going to touch on some individuals that was involved in this, just to kind of, once again, I want to show you a lot of times it's our own people that do this. This movie was directed by George C. Wolfe, and that's Wolf with an E at the end. So George C. Wolfe is a black man. Julian Brees is a black individual, and Dustin Lance Black is Julian Brees is a black male. Let me just be more specific. And Dustin Lance Black is a white male. They were the screenplay. They did the screenplay. And Julian Brees, once again, the black man, did the story. So he's credited with doing the story. And of course, it is executive produced by Michelle and Barack Obama. And they're the executive producers. Again, I have nothing really against this movie, except one big thing. One big thing that I have a problem with. And once again, like I told you, it's our own people. I keep telling you all, media is everything. Media portrayal, because what is portrayed in the media becomes truth. Everyone grasps onto what is projected in media. Again, once you start seeing, black men with white women in the media, most black women have now grasped onto the narrative that black men just marry white women, and that's not the case. It's been proven statistically that black men marry black women at the highest rate. We choose black women at the highest rate. Now, of course, you're going to see actors and rappers and all of the other stuff. Once you get on that level, then you can probably make the case that those individuals do probably favor, white women or non-black women over black women. But for the most part, black men that are still successful, that don't have jobs in the limelight, marry black women. And they choose black female partners. There are other also things too. When you look at the statistics on when you looked at the media and how they portrayed the drug epidemic, they just showed you a bunch of black people strung out on crack They didn't show you doctors and lawyers that smoke crack. They didn't show you that. They didn't show you all of that because most people think that drug users, once you start using crack, that you're going to just be strung out with no teeth. That's not the case. You have people that are functioning alcoholics, and then you have those people that just take alcoholism to the next level, and that becomes kind of like the face that you see. But a lot of people with problems are mostly functioning, and that is the same truth with drugs. A lot of people down on Wall Street and a lot of people in professional settings, they abuse drugs, but I guess they happen to use, and I'm not trying to say this about people on Wall Street, but I'm just saying people in professional. So let me not stigmatize people on Wall Street because I don't want people beating me up, but I'm just kind of using them as an example. But you have people that are in very high paying blue collar, white collar jobs that abuse drugs too, but they know limitations, whether it's hard drugs or not. But again, I'm just showing you how perception becomes reality. And when you look at, or when it comes to homelessness, or when it comes to people on welfare, Black people became the face of the welfare movement. And everyone knows that Black people are only 10% of the population in America, if that. So you can't sit up here and say, and so everybody knows just by a numbers perspective, that white people are the majority people that benefit from welfare. But they'll show you Black faces, and as soon as a person thinks about welfare or poor or poverty, they think Black because it's the media that controls it. So I'm basically saying all this, and I know I'm kind of lecturing, so I know you're saying get to the heart of what you're trying to say, political brown kid. Well, I will. The problem that I have with this movie is this. This movie was actually a very good movie. Definitely see it if you have Netflix. Definitely check it out. The lead character is Domingo Coleman. If you don't know who he is, he played in Fear the Walking Dead. He plays in a few other things. I think he is a great actor, and he did a great job in this movie. Everyone did a great job. You're going to see Jeffrey Wright. You're going to see Chris Rock. You're going to see CCH Pounder or Chew Pound. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but you're going to see her in this. You're going to see a lot of people and everyone, and even the people that you don't know their names, all of them did a fantastic job. The problem that I have with this movie is this. They showed in this movie, and I had to Google it, and I don't even know if I can pull it back up now. Yeah, there was one storyline, and so here's the spoiler alert. So for anybody who doesn't want to hear it, you can turn it away now, but I'm going to keep this high level, so I'm not going to tell you how this thing plays out. But the one problem that I have with this movie is that there's a storyline, a part of the storyline in addition to the March on Washington and setting it up, a part of him being, gay and that whole movement. But a sub part of him being gay was that he had a love triangle with a guy named Elias Taylor. So Elias Taylor, in this movie, he was a Black male and he was a married preacher. I'm going to hint on that. So this guy is a Black man married. And when he meets Rustin, Bayard Rustin, played by Domingo Coleman, the sparks started immediately flying. You could see that where this was going. You could see that there was something building up between these two. And boy, did it build up between these two. And it just, exploded, so to speak. No pun intended. But and then even his wife finds out about it, so I'm not going to give you any more than that. But saying all that to say this, so I was just like, wow. So men we're just all just homosexuals, I guess. Even married men, we're just homosexual. We're just living up to this whole Atlanta theory that every man down in Atlanta, or even every married man, is just in the closet doing all this kind of stuff. So I said, dang. So at the end, once I finished watching the movie, I had to Google it. And I just have the Google up right now. And I just had to type in, was Elias Taylor a real person? Is this fictionalized? Because, movies will fictionalize things for theatrics. Some movies have to do that because everybody's life isn't all that exciting. You have to plug in some theatrics in there to make it look good. So according to Google, and this is just according to Google, the storyline, and I'm reading, and I quote what I'm reading from the Google search result, although most of the film is based on the historical record, the storyline concerning Elias Taylor, and I guess he's played by Johnny Ramey, a married minister and activist, is fictionalized. So this is why I brought up this is why I wanted to read you the credits to show you that George C. Wolfe, and Julian Brees, Dustin Lance Black, and Barack and Michelle Obama. This is the reason why I'm bringing these individuals up, and the reason why I continue to bring these people up when I start doing these Hollywoods in black and white is to show you that here you have a bunch of black people minus Dustin Lance Black. He's a white man. Here you have all of these black people who wrote this movie, directed this movie, executive produced this movie, and they're willing to say, let's throw in a storyline and fictionalize a love triangle where a black man who's married is conflicted with their sexuality, and so he has an illicit affair with another black man because he's in the closet. They love doing this to us. And I'm just trying to figure out why the agenda. You already have an agenda. We already know Hollywood has an agenda that definitely has to plug in some homosexuality in almost every movie, whether it's a lesbian couple, whether it's a gay couple, whether it's a trans person, whether it's a drag queen, whatever, transgender. They just plug in this stuff into movies and TV shows just because. You already had the lead character in this movie, Rustin. Bayard Rustin was already a gay man, and he already had, his, love interest in the movie. And I'm not going to say who they were, but he had his love interest in the movie. Why did they need to create a fictional character that was a black man who was married, leaving his wife and having relations with another man? They love putting this perception out about black men. And all it does is reaffirms to women, the people that don't get it, that's not going to do their research, and they're going to say, see, all these black men just do. They've been doing this since the 1960s, since the March on Washington, and probably even before. So I just wanted to bring that up. But once again, the movie is great, but just the storyline, it bothers me. And it should bother everyone because the movie didn't even really need that storyline in it. If you take away Johnny Ramey, who's playing this guy, Elias Taylor, if you take Johnny Ramey out of this movie, the movie still flows very well. He's probably on camera maybe 12 minutes. I don't know. And then if you want to talk about the interactions between him and Coleman Domingo, the love interest, the confliction part, that's only probably maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes of the movie. So it wasn't even necessary. It wasn't even needed, but yet they felt the need to go there just to plant the seed in your mind that there's a black man married who's a minister who just loves to get down with the get down. And we just perpetuate this stuff that we do this to black women. So I'm going to leave it at that. This just frustrates me, but that's what I got from this movie. So once again, this is a Hollywood in black and white on Rustin, which I thought was a great movie. Definitely check it out. It is on Netflix, but that storyline just doesn't sit well with me. But I want you guys to check it out and look at it for yourself. And also don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell, and definitely leave your comments. Once again, this is the Political Brown Kid. Be well.